It's Katie Don-Baven reporting live from C2E2 for Gozamos, and come on and hang out with us. We're going to meet some great artists, we're going to see some comic books, and talk nerdy for a little bit. Okay, we're here with Dave of Robot Envy, and why don't you tell us a little bit about Robot Envy?
So Robot Envy started out as a Kickstarter project that I started basically like February 1st, and it was just kind of about my love for robots and just drawing robots, and a bunch of my friends were like, hey, you should do a book with a bunch of robots. I'm like, all right. And I had some friends that had successfully Kickstarted projects, and so I got inspired by them, and then I just tried it myself, and it became successful, and so here are the fruits.
Well, so, congratulations.
Thank you.
And how did you get started in comic books? What made you want to go in that route?
Well, technically I'm not really a comic book artist. I mean, I'm sort of in the community, but a lot of my friends are comic book artists, and I think I'm slowly starting to work my way in. But I've read comics forever. You know, it's like I love comics. I love the culture. I love, you know, the whole artist alley and everybody doing everything, their own thing here. It's just really cool. So.
Yeah, the style, too, is great. It's kind of gritty, but at the same time more realistic and cartoony sometimes. Can you tell us a little bit about what inspired the style?
Thank you. Well, it's like, I mean, I've always loved graphic design and things that are really graphic-y, you know, like comic books and stuff, but I also liked package design and just how clean package design is and stuff. So, you know, my idea was just kind of to marry the two, and I'm a big thing about like quality and like the feel of something, so like my book has like a unique feel, and it just different than a lot of the digital things that we've seen today. You know, I feel like just a cool screen printed product has an interesting feel to it. It's different.
Great. And what are you working on now?
Well, right now, I mean, there's a whole Robot Envy thing, so I still got to fulfill all my pledges for the Kickstarter thing. So I got to draw 120 more sketches of robots, and I got to start sending those out. There's also a T-shirt design I got to do, and the stickers. So like that's kind of what I'm doing next month. But then phase 2 for this is to sort of build a robot community that people who appreciate robots can upload their own drawings, and like we'll have a gallery and stuff like that. And maybe if one thing leads to another, we can do a book of just, you know, people's own robot drawings that they submit to the site.
Oh, great.
So it'd be kind of cool.
And if we really dig robots and we want to get involved, how do we find more out?
So robot-envy.com, and that's where that's going down. Also pseudopress.com is a Chicago community of artists where we just kind of talk to each other and build the community through local business. So we'll go to a restaurant that we dig, and we'll conduct an interview there with one of our artists or one of the artists of the community, and we'll eat lots of food and kind of talk about stuff, and maybe we'll draw, but you know, that's about it.
Great, thanks so much for talking to us, Dave.
Thank you.
Hi, we're talking to Andrew, and Andrew, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're working on and what you're promoting here today?
Several things. One of the projects is a werewolf comic called Mongrel. It's something that I started a while with a friend of mine, the writer Ed Dunphy, and we decided to finish the project up. It's 3 issues, but we're going to compile it into one book. Basically set in Chicago, werewolf, cop, drama, detective, a lot of gore, blood.
So is it inspired by living in Chicago and being here?
There's a lot of architecture from Chicago. I decided to utilize everything that I love about it, the urban grittiness of it, you know, like the monumental design of some of the structures that lift bridges and stuff like that. Lower Lake Street, you know, the driveway with all the industrial shapes that repeat. So a lot of fun stuff like that is in there. The other thing that I wanted to do with the werewolf was take it another notch, was to, I guess, meld it with a prehistoric creature. So it doesn't look like your typical werewolf. It looks more prehistoric. I guess I can flip through it a little bit here.
Yeah, there's a lot of werewolf stuff out there right now. Is that how you're setting yourself apart? Kind of.
Definitely. It was an idea to make it more unique. The werewolf to be different, you know. A lot of gore, a lot of blood.
What's the process for writing it? And
for writing it was more Ed's thing, but he would script it out. I would do some research as far as photography of the city of Chicago, getting friends of mine together and shooting them, using them as reference for characters, and then illustrating it, drawing it, penciling it, inking it, and then finally, right now, coloring it.
Great. And how long does one book take to sort of from soup to nuts?
One book on average takes about 2 months, 2.5 months, maybe 3. But since we started this a long time ago, we never finished it because the company we were working with went under. So we stopped working on it. We parted ways. I did video games for a while. He got into being a research scientist. So we just did our own thing for almost 10 years. Then we were like, well, let's finish it since we're almost done. We're halfway through, and put it out as a book. And I was like, yeah, let's do that. I got out of video games at the time, and he was getting more incentive to want to do more creator-owned stuff. So I was like, yeah, let's finish this. We're halfway there. Let's do it.
That's what we've been talking to a lot of the artists here, and that seems to be an underlying challenge, is sort of just finishing it and just keeping the ball rolling. And
right, the momentum.
Yeah.
You need to do the momentum, because if people don't see the momentum, they think you're a fly-by-nighter. You're just doing one thing really quick and you're putting it out there. Why should they pay attention? You're fighting a sea of talent out here. Some people are really good, but they're not consistent. And I fell into that trap of consistency where I wasn't always putting stuff out. But that's only because life pushes you one way or another, and you're trying to make sure which way should I go, and it's the right way. But at this point, this is something that I feel right to finish now, and we also want to do a bookend story to kind of complete it and say, where has this character been from the time we first started it to now, sort of ending it on that note, like a nice prologue, epilogue for the book when it comes out as a complete series.
so is that what you're working on now?
Yeah, it'll be out as a complete book. But for the people who've kept in touch with the comics issues, we'll put out a limited print run of that as well. Because we have a few fans that are very, that have been following us from the beginning. And we want to make sure that we're loyal to them for being loyal to us.
Right.
But the book, I think, is what people want.
Hi, I'm here with Charles for the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund. Would you like to tell us a little bit about the fund?
Sure. The Comic Book Legal Defense Fund is a not-for-profit organization that protects the First Amendment rights of the comic book field. And we were founded in 1986. And basically, anytime there's a legal issue involving the First Amendment rights of comics, when an artist or a retailer or even a reader is threatened because of the work that they read, we're the people that go to court and fight back.
Great. And can you tell us, are there any of our favorite comic books who have been challenged in that way?
All kinds. In fact, just this week, the American Library Association released their list of banned and challenged books in 2011, and the number 2 most frequently challenged book was The Color of Earth, which is a Korean manhwa series. But this is following years of increase in this area. So The Sandman has been challenged in various libraries. Alan Moore's books like Watchmen, even books like Blankets and Fun Home have found themselves the object of criticism and attack, where people are trying to pull them off the shelves.
Great. So this is a really prevalent censorship issue.
Yes. Censorship is definitely on the rise with regard to comics and graphic novels. And in addition to the library realm, we're seeing issues where individuals are being targeted because of the manga that they're ordering, manga being the Japanese comics. And increasingly, customs agents think that manga is a code word for porn. And increasingly, they don't understand what they're seeing. And so people will be ordering really innocuous things, and they'll be accused of horrible crimes, like importing obscenity or importing child pornography, over drawings that are just basic, cute Japanese drawings in the style of the various manga things. And so people need to understand that this stuff is under attack, and that we need to band together and fight back against this kind of censorship. And the CBLDF has a lot of tools to help people with that.
And what can we do then to help combat censorship and get involved?
If you go to CBLDF.org, you can take a look at our toolkit and share links on your Twitter feed, share links on Facebook. Let people know that comics is not a crime and nobody should go to jail over comics, and just spread the word so that we're aware of our First Amendment rights, and just spread the word amongst your friends that this stuff matters, it's important to me, it should be important to you.
Great. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you.
Hi, we're talking to Shayla and Ben of the ISU Quidditch team, and why don't you guys start by telling us what position you play?
I play beater, and Ben?
I play beater and seeker.
Oh, and how did you guys do today? Did you win?
I know we won our first game for sure. I don't know about the rest of them because they weren't really announcing scores. I think it was more about having fun.
Yeah, we just kind of had fun games today. Nothing too serious.
Great. So why did you guys want to join the International Quidditch League? Tell us a little bit about that.
I had a friend who was on a team, and she told me it was really fun. So I thought that if I started a team at ISU, it would be a good thing to do my senior year. And we joined IQA because it's the best way for all teams to get together and play.
Great. And how was your season this year? Or are you mid-season?
The season kind of reset after the World Cup this year, but we did extremely well. At one point, we were ranked 21st with the old ranking system. We did 4th at the Midwest Cup this year, and we went to the World Cup, and we played 4 games, and we won all of those. We had to leave early, unfortunately, though, because our Amtrak time was a little early.
Well, congratulations, though.
Thanks. Yeah, we've done pretty well.
And what's your favorite Harry Potter book?
Mine's definitely Half-Blood Prince, pretty much hands down.
I would say Goblet of Fire is mine. Just for the record, Goblet of Fire.
That was a good one, too.
Yeah. So if we want to join the ISU Quidditch team or learn more about the International Quidditch Association, where should we go?
I'd say internationalquidditch.org, I believe. If you search IQA online, you'll find it, and there's a full list of all teams on there. So any team in your area should be listed.
Yeah, we've got a profile on there that you can check out, and you can get to all our information from there, I think.
Okay, we're here with J.P. Pollard of Thomas versus the Monster, and why don't you tell us a little bit about your book?
Yeah, it's my first book ever. This is my first con. It's kind of about an ugly little kid named Thomas who fights monsters. Yeah, it's I've been describing it as like Jack Kirby meets Phantasm. This story, it's pretty wild. They kind of end up going underneath a cemetery. They fight a monster made out of dead people. And yeah, the next one comes out in May. There's going to be a lot more monsters. They're going to kind of look like something like this guy. And yeah, that's what I'm doing right now.
So you were telling me earlier that this is set in your hometown?
Yeah, it's set in Lakin, Illinois. It's a real town. It's 2 square miles. And yeah, that's where I grew up, super small. But it's kind of cool. So now I grew up and I put a bunch of monsters against my town and gave an ugly little kid to fight him back.
So what's been the biggest challenge in this whole process of kind of going out on your own, doing your own book?
Oh, far and away, the hardest thing was actually just finishing it. Just like sitting down and not... For a long time, I would fidget with a page and fidget with a page. And a lot of people that come talk to me today they're showing me things that are like unfinished pencils and stuff. And I'm like, man, just go ahead and ink it, finish it, you know? Like, until you have something finished, you can't really move on. And so that's what I did. And like, yeah, I quit my job and yeah, that's what I've been doing.
So what was your job that you left?
I was a graphic designer for the city of Minneapolis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a pretty decent job, but, you know, wasn't what I wanted to do forever. But yeah, I actually have a degree in comic art, so.
Oh,
yeah,
so you're back to your roots now.
Yeah, graphic design is kind of a side step. But
great, and you said you're working on more Thomas right now?
Yeah, the next issue comes out in May, which should be towards the end of May. And thomasvsmonsters.com, that's thomasvsmonsters.com, has all the updates on that. I've also been putting up color pages every Monday and Thursday. I have a new page up, so go ahead and check it out.
Great, thanks JP.
Thank you so much.
I'm here with Henri, and we're talking about his new book, Yi Sun Shin. Tell us a little bit about the book.
Sure. It's my book right here. It's about a Korean admiral who fought the Japanese in the 1500s. He's outnumbered 10-1, and he beat them 23 times in a row without losing. And we're at C2E2 2012, and I'm premiering the release of the graphic novel, which features a foreword by Stan Lee, and collects the first 4 issues of the book in hardcover form. It's 176 pages, and on top of that, it's got a bunch of extras in here. We got interviews with the creative team, character profiles, and just a behind-the-scenes look of how the book was made.
So, where's your inspiration from? Are you a big history buff?
Yeah, you know, I would say I am. I wouldn't say that history is the basis of the kind of writing I do. It's just sort of kind of where my interest is kind of going right now. So yeah, that's sort of where I've been at this point.
Great. And how did Stan Lee get involved?
Well, Stan really believed in what this project represents, and I was fortunate enough to get an audience with him through a friend of mine named Jim Salicrup. And he used to work for Stan Lee, and he used to edit a lot of Marvel books back in the day. Spider-Man, you name it. He was around forever. And he emailed Stan a few times, and Stan was more than happy to meet with me, so I flew out to Los Angeles, and I sat in his office for about 15 minutes and showed him the book, and that was it. Yeah. About 2 weeks later, I received the package in the mail with 2 pieces of paper with the signature on it.
Every writer's dream.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's great.
It's a dream come true.
What are you working on now?
Well, we're starting a new arc for Yi Sun Shin, and my co-writer and editor, David Anthony Kraft, we're working on outlining the next 4 issues together. So we're doing that, and I'm also working on a second project right now with J.M. DeMattis. He's the editor on the book, and we'll be talking more about that as time goes on. So,
great. Yeah. And if we want to know more about Yi Sun Shin, where should we go?
Absolutely. I will tell you. Just go to www.yi SOONSHIN.com. So that's www.yesoonshin.com.
Great, Henri. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you.
Hi, I'm here with Ashley and Megan, and we're talking about Dystopia Rising. So tell us a little bit about what it is and what you guys do.
Okay. Dystopia Rising is a tabletop RPG. It's set about 2 or 3 generations after the fall of man. The game is not based as everything goes, to pot. It's what happens afterwards. How humanity rebuilds itself after everything's fallen apart. There is no more government.
Yeah, no more government. The infrastructure's gone. Cities have fallen to ruin, and humanity itself is starting to evolve in new ways. And it's all the information that you need to explore the world, to fight off any of the various kinds of the zombies who have also evolved. Right. All the equipment that you need, rules for like Mad Max style fighting in cars in the deserts, rules for
really everything you need.
Yeah,
for
pretty
the world.
much
We just
anything you need.
recently, the core book here is everything you need to play.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
It is both player's guide and ST guide, character sheets, races, everything. You can take that book and just you, a couple friends, and the book. We just recently put out the first expansion, which focuses on New York City and Boston, and we have 12 more books that will come out over the next couple years, touching on different parts of the United States and then eventually out into the world as a whole.
So are you guys based out of Chicago or you're East Coast?
We are East Coast. We are based out of New York City. Yes.
Oh, okay. So you got the Chicago chapter started?
We actually already...
Showing them all around post-apocalyptic. This is what happened here. Where the gladiator tournaments would happen. It'd be great. I'm sorry. I'm not speaking to this.
The book
That's okay. It's exciting.
The book for Chicago and all of the lakes,
The Great Lakes area
have been outlined, and I think the writing has actually already begun. But
Yes.
I know, without giving away too much, the nationality that's focused on for this, for that book, as well as the religion that's expanded on in it.
Yeah.
Great. And if we want to learn more about Dystopia Rising or play, how do we find out?
You can find us at dystopiarising.com. The books are also available for either PDF or in print at drivethroughrpg.com and amazon.com.
Yep. Great. Thank you so much, Ashley and Megan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, we're talking to Chris Hamer of Urban Pop Studio. And tell us a little bit about your style. It looks like a very eclectic multimedia style.
The $10 million question, Katie. So my name's Chris, and I'm from Atlanta, and Urban Pop is my studio. And I guess my style is a conglomerate of all things that I love and grew up with. Comics, cartoons, my later years, graffiti, street art movement, things like that.
And where do you get your inspiration for each piece? Is each piece in your head already, or is it kind of a process?
It's kind of a process, but a lot of it can be in my head. And when it's not in my head, it comes from places like the show we're at this weekend, or just hanging out in places where people watch.
And that you do that in Atlanta?
In Atlanta, yes.
Yeah. What's your favorite place to people watch in Atlanta?
Wow, that's you're asking these hard questions. Okay, favorite place that people watch in Atlanta would have to be Little 5 Points, which is our downtown cool little punk rock area.
Great. And what's your favorite piece back here right now? Do you have a favorite?
My favorite piece back here right now would have to be this piece right here, this window. And the reason being is it's based off a Tom Waits song, which Tom Waits is one of my biggest influence musically for my art.
Great. And Chris, if we want to learn more about Urban Pop, where can we go to find out about it?
The interwebs, Katie, at www.urbnpop, I had to spell it, .com. So it's Urban Pop without the A. So do it up.
Great. Thanks for talking to us,
Awesome.
Chris.
Thanks, guys.
Hi, we're talking to Laura Innes, who does The Dreamer, and she writes and draws it. Laura, tell us a little about The Dreamer.
Sure. It's a webcomic that IDW publishes when we get enough issues done to do a collection. It's a story of a high school girl who starts having dreams about the American Revolution. So every night when she falls asleep, she wakes up and it's 1776. So it's a little bit adventure, a little bit romance, a little bit high school drama.
Oh, and are you a history buff? Is that how you
Absolutely,
started writing it?
yes.
And that's your favorite time period?
It's the one I decided to write about. It is my favorite now, but that's because I've spent so much time researching it.
That's great. And we also have Alan here. And Alan Evans, you are writing Rival Angels.
Great.
And tell us a little bit about that.
Rival Angels is about the story of 4 girls trying to make it in pro wrestling. And they have to decide whether their friendship comes first or their career, and then they have to deal with the consequences of those decisions.
Is it usually friendship or is it usually career? Can you give us a spoiler?
You know what, there's 4 of them, and so they interact differently with each other. There's definitely one who will always put her friends first. There's one that'll always put career first. Which one that is, you'll have to check out.
And are you a big wrestling fan? Is that how you got inspired?
I am. Ever since I was a little kid, I always just loved watching it. WWE, WWF, WCW, NWA, USWA.
So are your girls inspired by anybody?
Sure. A little bit here, a little bit there, but certainly like cheerleader Melissa, Lita, Trish Stratus.
Of course.
Maybe even a little Wendy Richter. And then there's always new people that come that always like inspire what I'm doing.
And where can we go to find out more about Rival Angels?
RivalAngels.com.
Great. And Laura, where can we find out about Dreamer?
TheDreamerComic.com.
Great. Thanks, guys.